on a beautiful night in Wilmington here at the DETV studio. It's time for another DETV Sports Update. We're talking football for Week 5, a special Thursday night preview, an action-packed show here tonight. Nick Alessandrini, as always, joined by Jason McCall, Dennis Pritchett back in the studio room. And Jason, here we are, another Thursday. Should be a great show tonight. Football game, a good Thursday night one. Are you excited? Colts Broncos tonight? How excited are you for that one?
Indianapolis. Can't say the C word. It's okay.
That's right. Yeah, you're right there. Again, we have Monday, we have the Cowboys and Giants, and then Thursday, here we are. We have some great primetime games here these last couple weeks. I know the last time we talked was last Thursday, I believe, or last Monday. Yeah. It's been a while since we've been back. So let's dive in. We're going to talk a little bit about week number 4. We'll get to our week 5 matchups and breakdowns, and then we'll end, of course, with our Thursday night preview with the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos. So, Jason, let's just start going over some of these Week 4 things that stood out maybe to you. I know me, you, and Dennis have been texting going back the last week of just talking about everything that's happened in the NFL, etc. Is there anything from Week 4 that we got to lead off with here? I know there was a very interesting Bengals-Dolphins game last Thursday night.
Yeah, got to lead off with Tua. It's a scary situation. It's unfortunate for him, but the league, the NFLPA is investigating it already. They've already sought outside counsel. It's just something you don't want to see, and being as though he was hurt originally, concussed on a Sunday game, wasn't ruled out, and then played 4 days later, something wrong about that. There's just something wrong about that. And you can agree with people all day long in front of the camera, but somebody needs to be held accountable. And if I were in Tua's camp, I would probably sue someone. That's just how I feel, because he may play again, he may not right now. That's yet to be seen. But just the way it all went down, you can never always trust a player to go back in the game. They'll always say yes. Which is why you have checks and balances with medical staff and coaching and everything else. So it didn't pass the smell test for me, or the eye test, and it's just a weird situation. And I hope that you get to the bottom of it. But the NFL needs to tighten up its concussion protocol, which has done a great job over the last 10, 12 years with the focus on it more. But there's still something else that needs to be done about it if something like this can happen.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I think this will be the reason that they do something about it. We've already seen, as you mentioned, some measures being taken by the NFL, some hiring, some firing, stuff like that. They're going to look into it, obviously, the NFLPA investigating. So a lot going on there. Tua, supposedly doing okay now. Again, not likely we will see him this week. We'll get into the Dolphins matchup here in just a little while. Teddy Bridgewater most likely going to be under center for the Dolphins in that matchup. But word, from Miami, was on the plane ride home from Cincinnati. Coach McDaniels and Tua, they watched MacGruber together. Coach McDaniels said that Tua laughed a few times during the film, so I guess he's doing okay on the way back. But again, so much, just got to be careful, and it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it going forward and how long maybe Tua is out for. Because I mean, even after that hit he took the week prior to the game on Thursday, you had multiple people. Even the line at the time, as we talked about it, was kind of acting like he wasn't going to play, and he still did. Yeah,
I would say, just to talk about the Dolphins overall, what a great safety valve to have in Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, right. Teddy Two-Claw.
And think about the story of his career with the catastrophic injury
in that spot,
Minnesota,
in position.
And now he's playing for his hometown team. Like, you have to root for somebody like Teddy Bridgewater to be successful. Don't want him to pretty much take Tua's job, but if he has to play and fill in, Miami can still win games with Bridgewater. He's not a scrub. He's not washed. Mm-hmm. That Denver situation was Denver. Nobody could win in Denver last year with that roster. So I think it's a better roster here now in Miami, and he can still throw the ball around. He still has his legs. So if Tua's out for a while, they're in good hands. They can still win some games. The AFC East is up for grabs anyway this year. Even with the Bills being 3-1, I think they're still up for grabs because everybody's 2-2 outside of the Patriots. But yeah.
How about that? When's the last time you said the Patriots were last in the AFC East? So again, we'll get to them in a little while. But Teddy Bridgewater, I'm with you. They're one of the better backups in the NFL. You could make that argument, certainly. And he's going to have some weapons in Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, in that Mike McDaniel offense. I think if you're a Dolphins fan, you're still in pretty good shape right now going forward. Xavier Howard, though, dealing with an injury on the defensive side, so we'll talk about that as well. But let's talk now for a minute. I almost forgot to lead the program off with it, Jason. Tomorrow, 2:07 p.m., what are you going to be doing?
I'm going to be at work, but what are you doing?
Well, I'll be at work too. What are you going to do while you're working? Don't tell your boss. Watching the Philadelphia Phillies in the postseason for the first time in over a decade. Since 2011, 11 years, we've been waiting for another Red October. We have it. 2:07 p.m. first pitch tomorrow for the Phillies
Flash of time,
at
man.
the Cardinals. Here we go. It's that time of the year again for the first time in over a decade. Not again. I shouldn't say it that way. But it's playoff time here for baseball. We haven't talked a lot about baseball on the program as, you play 182 games, not, too many things that have been noteworthy. This is certainly noteworthy. Phillies, game 1 in the wild card series tomorrow, 2:07 p.m. Again, I'm sure we'll all be working, but just turn it on. Have it on in the background. It's the first time in over a decade. Let's enjoy this Phillies playoff run. 2:07 tomorrow. So speaking of the Phillies, Jason, keeping up with them at all? Are you excited for the playoffs?
No, I am excited for the playoffs. Sad that my hometown Orioles couldn't squeeze in, but they had a great season.
I was going to say, they surpassed expectations.
They brought up the 2 best prospects in baseball this year.
They're looking pretty good. I think they're going to have a bright future going forward in Baltimore as well. It looked so bleak these last couple of years, and then boom, this year they're looking pretty good. I think they'll be in good shape
but
as well.
I'll say the Phillies made it tough last month of the season. Made it tough. It made it tough. But,
oh, man, it was a tough stretch.
You got Deion Sanders, you got to win to get in, and they won and they got in, and then we'll see what happens at 2:07.
Anything can happen. 2:07 tomorrow. You got it. Let's
first
keep
time
it
since the team with Rollins and Howard and
since 2011. I mean, it's hard to believe. So a lot of the players on this Phillies team now weren't even in the bigs back in 2011 when the last time the Phillies made the playoffs. So a lot going on in Philadelphia. Again, we want to see them come back home for some playoff games, and for that to happen, they're going to have to win that series against the Cardinals, all 3 games in St. Louis. So if they're able to win that series, that they changed. The first year this year where they're doing that, no 1-game wild cards anymore. It's a 3-game series, all at the favorite team's facility. So we'll see.
Wow, that's different.
Philly's got to win. Let's get a game back at Citizens Bank Park here in about a week or 2. So let's move on now to the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll recap them here quickly, some of our Week 4 standouts. The Eagles improve, last remaining undefeated team in the NFL, a win over the Jags. Didn't look good early in this one. Doug Peterson, a nice standing ovation in his return. Down 14-0, though. Hurts would get it started.
Superman. He's Superman.
Hurts and Lamar, those 2 guys battling for MVP.
Hurts
top there
is
right
playing lights-out football. He has full command of the offense, and we had a Miles Sanders spotting.
My goodness, he's been looking good.
He's been looking very, very well.
Jason, he's told people not to draft him in fantasy this year. Well, he was lying. 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 yards a carry for Miles Sanders in that big win for the Eagles. So Jalen Hurts was doing it through the air. You see now Miles Sanders get it going on the ground. Again, they scored 20 points in the second quarter after being shut out 14-0 in the first. They win the game 29-21. Both teams went scoreless in the third, 9 for the Eagles in the fourth. They kind of have been stalling out in the second halves offensively, but this one, not great weather. The Jags are a pretty good football team. They're able to force 5 turnovers from Trevor Lawrence. That was a big part of the win.
Yeah, like I said a few weeks ago, the Jags are for real as far as them playing incredible football. Coach Peterson has them with a different mindset, and just a change of culture has done wonders for that team.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And you can see it in their play. They play inspired football every week, and they're going to stick up on a few more teams before the season's over with, and that's come out with a few more wins than we originally expected.
We'll dive in now into some of these Week 5 matchups, and that will include the Eagles and the Cardinals on the back end of the games we're going to look at. But Dennis, before we go, is there any other headlines or things from Week 4 that you think maybe deserve a little conversation up here today?
Take the points.
And there it is. And
take the points.
Again, we don't have time. Jason, you were actually on site at M&T Bank Stadium, I believe, this past weekend for the Ravens in the Bills. One of the better games in the NFL slate on Sunday. Coach Harbaugh making a decision heard around the world to not kick the field goal. They went for it on 4th down, did not get it. The Bills would then get the victory off the leg of Tyler Bass, a field goal for the game winner. Just run us through the final stages in Baltimore last weekend.
4th and 4 at like the 12. You go for it instead of kicking the field goal. You go up 23-20 with about 3.5, 4 minutes left in the game. It was a horrible play call, thrown out the right side of the back of the end zone, and everybody's sitting there, take the points, kick the field goal, and saw Marcus Peters animated on the sideline. Had to be held back from going at Harbaugh for making that decision. You know, as a defender, that's probably the worst slap in the face you can get.
It is, yeah, and that's a great point.
And they were having interceptions all game. They had a few sacks during the game, and the defense was playing better than they had in the past few weeks. So it was slap in the face to them to not kick the field goal, and a slap in the face to the greatest kicker of all time, in Justin Tucker. And Tucker we trust, and it didn't happen. And we know he's good from NFL record yardage and everything else. So a chip shot, 35 yards, you kind of take that.
Could have kicked that left-footed. Maybe.
Left-footed. But I would say this, seeing the Bills in person, they are for real. Josh Allen has command of the offense. The defense is solid. But they really much just ran the clock. And Baltimore had 2 timeouts left, had a failed challenge that they had to take a timeout for, and that's how the game was won. The clock basically ran out of time, and then they kicked the field goal with like 3 seconds left. But from what I saw from Lamar on offense with the Ravens, they can still do some things, but has to be better game management. It comes down to just coaching right now. They're losing games off of coaching, not off talent, not off of skill. It's coaching right now.
And again,
it's falling on deaf ears in Baltimore. Harbaugh's done this for the past few years. There are rumblings of, hey, he needs to go. And I believe right now they'll be fine for this season, but it might be time for a new voice in Baltimore.
And you're talking about Coach Harbaugh? You think
Yeah.
like it? So let's go with the record. Lamar, one of the favorites to win MVP this year. Through 4 weeks, he's been spectacular. Obviously, the Ravens 2-2 now,
2-2,
I believe.
yeah.
So, again, say they go on a run here and make a playoff run. They go to the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl. Are you still sticking with that sentiment?
Still
Same
stick
thing?
with that because after a while, things do fall on deaf ears. And you don't want to lose the locker room. But you want your players to trust that you have their best judgment in their heart when you're coaching the game and calling X and O's. Mm-hmm. But Harbaugh, he's a great coach. Let's give him credit. But X and O is not really his thing. He's more of a motivator than the X and O's guy.
Special teams.
And you can see that now. You've seen them more often over the past few years. We've probably lost 6 to 8 games in the past 2-3 years off of just going all in when you can be safe. So
coaching can cost you. I'm sure
Coaching
Nathaniel
can cost you.
Hackett will lose 6 games this year, just this year with the way that's going.
I think the Ravens are still fine right now. Yeah, they're still fine.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with you. I think, again, if we were to meet, today, and I might be in the minority here, I'll take the Ravens winning the AFC North. What do you think? And everybody's on Cincinnati. They got a slow start, and obviously they're playing a lot better now. I'm going to stick with Baltimore. They swept Cincinnati swept them last year.
First time in a while.
And I think it's going to. I think the Ravens win the division. It's early. How are you feeling about the AFC?
Oh, we're going to win.
I know you have a little bit of a bias going on as well, as do I a little bit. But
I would say, bias aside, I think on paper with the talent alone, the Ravens are probably more talented even than the Bengals because the Ravens were hurt last year. It wasn't because they didn't do anything; they were just hurt last year.
I
They
think a
lost
little bit
everybody.
this year. They're starting to get back into it defensively. Defense still doesn't look as good as you'd like it to, but I think it'll get better.
We're healthy this year, so that makes me think that they can kind of reclaim the throne. But you always have to watch out for Cincinnati. And we'll talk about them later on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, for sure, that AFC North is going to be a battle probably till week 17 this year. So let's jump into week 5 matchups and breakdowns here a little bit later than we'd like to, but we had to get all our week 4 headlines out of the way. Let's start with one that you're not really a fan of, and that's because this game is going to be kicked off in London, 9:30 a.m. on Sunday. Last week we had the Vikings and the Saints. Came down to a field goal game. This week, got another matinee here for you, Jason. 9:30, it's the Giants and the Packers. Aaron Rodgers heading over to London, and the Giants 3-1 on the season, Jason.
Say that again.
3-1 on the year. I'll tell you, that NFC East, record-wise, Giants, Cowboys, and the Eagles, it's looking like a tough division through 4 weeks. So, we'll check back on that in 10 more. But the Giants, they beat the Bears 20-12 last week in a battle of subpar offenses. The guy that stood out, though, in that game was Saquon Barkley. He's looking like maybe the best running back in the NFL.
I told you he's back. I said before he's back.
146 yards on the ground. Not a lot through the air, but obviously he's done that already this year. What have you seen from Saquon? Is he back into rookie form that we saw him back then?
I would say the way he's running the ball now, hitting the hole, he might actually be better than rookie form because of the fact that he's not just relying on home run plays from his position. He's actually running the ball very well, hitting the holes, and making all his cuts and reads. It's like his vision's got better since he was sitting on the sideline so long.
And he even told himself, he said the confidence that he has in himself is, way, up and above where it's been the last few years. He said, we don't get out there that much and you're not producing. You start to doubt yourself a little bit. He finally says he's 100% healthy, has that confidence back in himself, and it's showing. He's been incredible so far this year. What hasn't been incredible is the receiving corps for the Giants. More injuries. Sterling Shepard out for the year. Kadarius Toney was back at practice today, but Kenny Golladay missing practice. He's dealing with an injury now. Not that he got on the field much anyway. Richie James will be there. He's been getting a lot of work. Some weird pass catches for the Giants. And take a look at the box score against Chicago last week, and when you hear some of the guys that were catching passes, somebody we know where, David Sills from ECA, Red Lion, is one of the receivers now for the Giants. He was catching the ball for them last week. Who is Danny Dimes going to throw to? I think Saquon may be their leading receiver this week.
I mean, he can be 1,000 back. I mean, he has the skill set to do it. He can be the next 1,000 back. He might have to be this year for him to win more games.
Their leading receiver, Daniel Bellinger, the tight end, had 3 targets and 3 catches. Behind him, Tanner Hudson, the other tight end, had 2 targets. Those are the leading target getters for the Giants. Exactly. I'm having trouble reading names. They're right in front of me. We even got to see a little Darius Slayton in the game for the Giants last week. Again, he was pretty good for them the last couple years. Haven't seen any of them up until that point this year. The Packers, they get that overtime win over the Patriots, 27-24. Romeo Doubs starting to emerge a little bit. Lazard had a big game for them. Aaron Jones on the ground. Aaron Rodgers kind of, just being an efficient quarterback right now, taking what the defenses are giving him. Just, you look at the stats, nothing's really blowing you away. He gets the Giants here. They're heavy favorites over a touchdown. How do you see this one going in London?
I see the Giants winning this game.
Really?
I really see the Giants.
Brian Daboll's got something going over there?
Defense travels, and running games travel. I think that Saquon is a better back than Aaron Jones. And I think that the defense will decide this game. I think the Giants' defense is slightly better than the Packers.
I'm going to go with the Packers. So you're going to take the points. You're taking them to win outright. Giants, you have to take them to win outright. You're liking them to win the game.
I'm liking the Giants to win the game.
I'm going to take, again, I'll just disregard the points for this one. I'm going to take the Packers to win the game in London, but it would not surprise me if the Giants
London games
pulled
are weird.
It out. They're weird.
They're weird. It's like
you don't know how teams.
What you expect to happen in London doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I'm going, because
very true.
With the Giants. But does this say Landon Collins is back with the Giants?
He's back, signed today. He's already on a flight to London as we speak to join the Giants. So he will be with them, suited up, ready to go on Sunday.
Wow.
So we'll see if that brings them a little spark defensively. Maybe, you never know. I wonder what he's been doing. I mean, was a pretty good player in his day. Didn't get a lot of love the last few years of his career in the secondary. Stops in Washington, etc. But he'll look to make an impact on Sunday. Giants, Packers. Dennis, who you got? And Dennis going with the Giants as well. I'm the minority here on London Matinee Kickoff. Let's now move over to the Steelers and Bills. Another big headline this week as it finally happened, Jason. We've been calling for it. Kenny Pickett named the starter for the Steelers. I think Mike Tomlin looked and he said, I haven't had a losing record in my career. We're 1-3. Now's the time. I don't want to risk doing that this year. We don't know how many years Mike Tomlin, will remain with Pittsburgh, but totally up to him when he chooses to walk away. But he's going to go with Kenny Pickett. He'll be under center. But it's going to be one of the toughest stretches for a rookie quarterback these next 5 weeks. The Steelers have the toughest schedule remaining in the NFL, and it all gets started this Sunday on the road at Buffalo.
That sounds good to me. Toughest schedule.
Jason, I haven't seen a line like this in a
while. Yeah.
They're giving the Steelers 14 points, 2 touchdowns. You saw the Bills in person last week. Kenny Pickett, I think, is a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky. And again, we know rookies, it takes some time to get acquainted with the offense, etc. You're going up against your first tough defense in Buffalo. They'll have time to prepare for Pickett now this whole week. But 14 points, that's a lot of points. Are they giving Kenny Pickett enough respect?
It's not Pickett. It's the fact that the game's in Buffalo. That's the reason why it's a 14-point spread right now.
But if Trubisky was quarterbacking, I would say
it would still be
9.
10. It would
I'd
still
say
be
9 or 10.
still at least 10.
And I don't think that's. I disagree with that, though, in general. I think, and again, rookies' first starts may not always go as well, but from what I've seen out of those two, and what I even saw from him when he came in last week, he had 3 interceptions, none of which were his fault. I thought he looked pretty good, 10 of 13, the only incompletions being those 3 picks. He went through receivers' hands. Again, I get where the line is coming from. I'm with you there. But I do like Kenny Pickett under center for Pittsburgh going forward.
I do, too. I like the run. There's going to be a stronger focus on the running game going forward. Najee Harris has to.
That offensive line, man, I'll tell you, Jason, it is a tough task to watch that offensive line. They are brutal. A little bit better, not as bad as last year. They're getting a little bit better. And Najee Harris gets hit in the backfield on most of his carries, but he's also got to make some people miss as well. I think he's kind of given in to the offensive line, isn't great, and I think he's kind of maybe not performing as well as I think maybe he should so far. But again, offensive line has not been good at all.
No, but I would say that they are going to lose this game. We're not saying they're not going to lose this game. They're going to lose this game. But my thing is, Steelers being at 1-3. I mean, as a Ravens fan, it's great, but for that franchise, for that fan base, they're not used to this. It's similar to with the Patriots. They're not used to this. So I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season. I believe Pickett can win them some games, but how many games will they win until T.J. Watt comes back?
Again, T.J. Watt, part of that 7-sack group against Cincinnati in Week 1, just 2 sacks in entirety for the Steelers since T.J. Watt went out. That was after Week 1 when they had 7 in one game. They have not been able to get pressure on the quarterback. Again, T.J. Watt coming back is going to be big time for that Steelers defense. And if you take a look at the schedule going forward, it's not going to get any easier, Jason, for Kenny Pickett. You want to take a look. They've got the Bills this week, and then they have to go on the road as well. It takes me a minute to get the schedule up here. Sometimes the Wi-Fi doesn't work with you. But we talked about how they have the toughest schedule remaining in the league. Let's hear the next 5. At Buffalo, at home against Tampa, at Miami, at Philadelphia are the next 4. So how about those games? Bills, Bucks, Eagles, and the Dolphins on the road.
They're going to probably win that.
Which game do they win?
I'm sorry, Dennis. It's probably going to be that Bucks game.
Beat the Bucks?
Probably going to be that Bucks game.
Wow. Okay.
Probably going to be that Bucks game. Because with the Steelers, you have to expect unexpected. The games that they're supposed to lose, they somehow find a way to win those games.
Week 1, right? We saw it Week 1.
So they might win one of those 4, and it's probably going to be that Bucks game.
Yeah, the NFL's toughest remaining schedule. Not easy for Kenny Pickett.
But it could be that Dolphins game as well.
Depending on how they look the next couple of weeks, dealing with injuries. Again, you never know. Very unpredictable. Steelers getting 14. You going with the Bills just outright to win this game?
Yeah, I'm outright. I'm not taking a 14-point spread.
I'm going to go. I think the Bills win, but I think Kenny Pickett, I think he looks better than people expect, even on the road at Buffalo, one of the toughest matchups for any quarterback in the league this year. If that secondary is healthy, they're going to be very tough to move the ball against. But I do think Pickett will do a better job than that Steelers offense has done so far this season. Dennis, Steelers or Bills?
That was quick.
Yeah, he was like, are they even asking me? You should have just known. Let's move on to the Chargers and the Browns. Both of these teams 2-2. Jason, Chargers going to travel to Cleveland. Browns have had an interesting season so far. They lose to the Falcons last week, 23-20. They were favorites on the road in that game. Could not get the victory. Chargers, they've looked a little so far this year. They're 2-2. A lot of people's trendy Super Bowl picks with Justin Herbert dealing with that rib cartilage. Bosa has now been put on IR. You look at some of the other, Keenan Allen still hasn't practiced. Josh Palmer didn't practice. The kicker, Dustin Hopkins, is questionable for Sunday. There's a lot going on with the Chargers, but Austin Eckler looked good on Sunday as well. He had 3 touchdowns.
I mean, Austin Eckler is their most consistent player right now. I mean, but that's all they have also right now. It seems like the injury gods hate the Chargers.
Yeah, it's
every season you're talking about
especially
3 or 4 star players that are hurt and miss significant time every season, and it is rearing its ugly head again. So the only way the Chargers make the Super Bowl is on Madden. Just saying right now, at this point, I don't with the injuries. You can't overcome injuries at skilled positions like that.
And again, also dealing with some. I mean, once you lose Bosa, who's your best pass rusher,
Best player on the
was
team, you can
dealing with
argue.
some injuries as well. We know Derwin James has some injury history. J.C. Jackson is battling injury. It's going to be an uphill battle for the Chargers, but they go now on the road to Cleveland. They're favorites on the road here, 2.5 points to the Browns. Jacoby Brissett, how do you see this one going?
I don't trust it. I'm taking the Browns at home.
Really?
The Browns at home. Again, the running game. The running game.
Oh, that's it.
And play action pass with Herbert with Brissett rather. And that's all you really need for this. And the Browns still have a great defense. And Myles Garrett practiced.
That's right. He could be back this week.
Could be back this week.
Yeah, again, I'm watching the Browns last week against the Falcons, and I know they were on the road, but the Falcons, to me, they've won 2 in a row. They are the only team to cover all 4 weeks so far this year in
Yes,
the
they
NFL.
are.
But I will say, I didn't like what I saw out of the Browns last week. I'm going to go with the Chargers to win this one outright on the road. But you mentioned it. The recipe for success is defense and running the ball. They could do that. Just wasn't too impressed with what I saw them offensively. I think they got hot a little bit earlier on in the year. But I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. It's going to be a close one, though. I'm with you there. We'll go to the Bears and the Vikings, a matchup in the NFC North. The Vikings 3-1, reeling off 2 wins since they lost to the Eagles on Monday Night Football. Big favorites here in this one, Jason. 7.5 points over the Bears. Justin Fields threw the ball on Sunday. He had 23 attempts coming in. He threw 22 times on Sunday. What do you think about the Bears? They're 2-2. And I don't pass the eye test for me, but they're 2-2.
The winner of this game could be in first place if the Giants beat the Packers.
And again, we both had the Vikings at the beginning of the season to win the division.
And I still do.
Still do. I'm with you there. Bears lost to the Giants last week, 20-12, as we talked about. Threw it 22 times, only 174 yards, and he was sacked 6 times.
That's the key.
And the word out of Chicago and some of the media there is they don't trust Justin Fields. They don't want him to throw the ball, and maybe that's why you're going to get sacked 6 times.
You have to let him throw the ball. You have to let him play his whole game.
And you have
to curtail your offense to his best attributes, and they're not doing that right now. Similar to what the struggles that Kyle Murray is having in Arizona. They're not really catering to his exact skill set.
He's not running the ball all this year.
So
he's not running which is so.
So I would say you have to play that type of game. You have to do screens and play action and run the ball and get him some open lanes for the RPOs, and that's what they're not doing in Chicago right now.
Again, offense looks brutal. They're somehow 2-2. They're finding ways to win under new head coach Matt Eberflus.
All you got to do is win the game.
All you got to do is win the game, right? You play to win the game. The Vikings, they beat the Saints in that London game that we talked about last Sunday, a field goal victory. Greg Joseph kicking out of the ball there.
Yeah.
5 field goals, I believe, for Greg the Leg Joseph, not Greg Zuerlein. Justin Jefferson back on track, 147 yards receiving for him. You got the Vikings or the Bears in this one. These NFC North matchups are always tough.
I have the Vikings outright. I'm not taking that point spread.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings, too, to win. Yeah. Vikings over the Bears. Dennis, you going with the Vikings? All right, he said yes. Now let's head to an interesting one. 2 teams that have been struggling as of late. That is the Lions and the Patriots. And the Lions not struggling on offense, but they are struggling on defense. They're averaging an NFL-high 35 points and a league-high 437 yards a game. Jared Goff exploding in this Detroit offense, but they're the first team in NFL history to score and give up a combined 281 points through the first 4 games of a season.
Yikes.
The defense has been historically bad so far through the season. I mean, it seems like they're giving up 30, 40 points a week. We saw that again this past week where they lost to the Seahawks 48-45. Geno hung 48 on them on Sunday. The defense hasn't shown up, but the Patriots, they lose to the Packers in that overtime game. They lose Mac Jones, who is questionable for this week. Bailey Zappi, the 7th-round pick out of Western Kentucky, getting some run. Looks pretty good running that offense for New England. Almost led them back in that game against Green Bay. Brian Hoyer today was placed on injured reserve. He is out for the foreseeable future. Lions, Patriots. This one, coin toss, how do you think about this one? Lions offense, great. Defense isn't great. And the Patriots defense, a little good. The offense, who knows?
This is the ugliest game on paper, record-wise. My gosh, 1-3 both teams.
And New England over a field goal favorite here at home.
Yeah, that's the Belichick effect, I would say, more so than anything. But I like the Lions going on the road to win this game.
I'm going to take the Lions, too. I'm going to take the Lions with you here on the road, the underdogs at Gillette Stadium. Tough to win over there, but the way it's trending for that offense, a lot of questions coming into the season. None of those questions have been answered to this point as we head into week number 5. Now you lose Mac Jones. I did like what I saw out of Bailey Zappi. Again, though, it's going to make his first career NFL start, as we talked about with Kenny Pickett, and they're still 3.5-point favorites in the game. Give me Jared Goff and this Detroit Lions offense. I don't think the Patriots.
That's saying a lot. You're picking Jared Goff.
I know. What, Jared Goff looking good this year with Detroit.
Yeah, but that trade was a steal when you look at it now.
You think so?
Yeah, the swap for Stafford for
got him a Super Bowl.
Goff. Yeah,
Got him a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We're both taking the Lions. Dennis, what do you got? Dennis going against the grain. He's going to take the Patriots at home and Bill Belichick, so you can book that one. Let's go now to the Seahawks and the Saints. Another ugly one on paper here. Seahawks 2-2, the Saints 1-3. After that loss in London, they now return home to New Orleans, where they are 5.5-point favorites over the visiting Seahawks, who are led by Geno Smith. And let's take a look. I'm going to compare 2 quarterbacks here, Jason. One of which, the quarterback in Seattle last year, Russell Wilson, and one, Geno Smith, through 4 games this year. Both of them, though, these are their stats from this season. Russ with Denver and Geno with Seattle. Geno, 77.3% completion percentage, 1,037 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's good for a 108 quarterback rating, which is very good. Now Russ struggling a little bit more than Geno, 61% completion percentage, 980 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 an interception, a 91 quarterback rating. Geno is balling out this year, and again, once a big quarterback leaves, you can step in through 4 games, a lot can happen. Geno's looking good. Can he continue to look this good in Seattle?
Yes, because he's been there for a while.
They're throwing the ball more now with Geno than they did with Russell Wilson. That was the reason Russell Wilson wanted to get out of there.
And again, Geno's been there for a few years as Russell's backup, so he knows the offense in and out. He knows the playbook extensively. He has the confidence. Russ gave him confidence while he was there, and now that he's not there anymore, they still talk regularly. So Geno Smith is getting a second chance to prove that he was worth the pick that he was picked, and he's just taking advantage of it. And I think this is going to continue. I really do.
I mean, coming in, I think one of the over-under for Seattle was around 4.5 or 5 wins. They've already got 2 through 4 games this season. Again, you saw the quarterback rating DK Metcalf getting back on track last week, 149 yards. Though he did have to leave the game briefly. It had a lot of people worried when they reported he was carted off the field. Dennis, do we got that clip?
Oh, there it is. Coming off the field.
You see that, you get a little bit worried. You're like, oh no, if you got him on your fantasy team, you're like, he's getting carted off. This must be a significant injury. He can't even make his way to the locker room. Well, then it comes out that, and you can hear the reporting on the screen through the audio there. It was a bathroom break for DK Metcalf. Yeah, no injury, just had the clinch walk. That's a quote for DK Metcalf. That is a quote after the game. So DK, not being carted off, but everything's going to be okay. He'll be good to go this week.
Yeah, he had some loose bowels. He had to be carted off. It's craziness.
You got to go, right?
He pulled a Paul Pierce, like I said. He pulled a Paul Pierce. He wasn't hurt at all.
Rashad Penny. Back to what he's doing. I mean, what an incredible finish to last year this running back had, and he is off to another great start. Big game for him on Sunday, 151, 2 scores on the ground. Again, the Seahawks 2-2, and the Saints might be without Jameis again this week. Andy Dalton did okay in his start for New Orleans in London. Jameis and Michael Thomas are still not practicing. They haven't to this point as we're speaking on Thursday night. Kamara should be back in the lineup. He practiced today, limited. He'll be, as in his words, good to go for them in his return on Sunday. But Andy Dalton's going to be at the helm here for the Saints. They are back at home. Geno leading the Seahawks to New Orleans, to the Superdome. Who are you taking in this one?
Because of my my wager this season with a certain someone, I have to take the Saints this week.
Taking the Saints?
I have to take the Saints this week. I have to. They have to win this game. Because if they don't win this game, their season is in serious jeopardy. They have to win at home. They have to.
I'm going to go with the Saints, too. I really wanted to take the Seahawks. Pre-show meeting, taking the Seahawks. I'm going to take the Saints now. I'm switching. I'm going to the Saints. I just think the Saints are going to win the game. Just what you said, they're 1-3. I think this is the game that they pull out and win. Dennis, what about you? Seahawks going to Seahawks. Dennis, once again, against the green. Book him for Seattle. Let's keep it moving. The Dolphins will be out without Tua Tagovailoa this week. They are 3-1, though. That first loss coming to Cincinnati last Thursday. They get the 2-2 New York Jets. The Dolphins, a 3-point favorite. Jason, I'm going to give you another absolutely insane statistic. Are you ready for it?
Ready for it.
The New York Jets have lost 12 straight division games. 12 straight
Carry the one.
division games in
all right.
the AFC East. I thought I read that wrong. I had to make sure when we did the notes that was accurate. It is indeed accurate. 12 straight losses for the New York Jets. They have another matchup with the Dolphins here. Obviously, no Tua. Teddy's going to be under center for the Dolphins. They've won 8 of their last 9 against the Jets, have Miami. Tyreek Hill dealing with a little bit of a quad injury, shouldn't keep him out of the game on Sunday. I know if you hear what he said this week, how are you going to do with Teddy Bridgewater? And he was pretty confident.
Yeah, he's pretty confident, and he should be. As a receiver, you adjust to whoever you're throwing the ball to.
Especially when you're that good.
You're that good, and when you don't need but a 7-yard slant to make anything happen anyway, and bubble screens, things of that nature, with Tyreek Hill, he can pretty much just get the ball at 5 yards and go. So he'll be fine. Like I said, the Dolphins will be fine. However, the Jets get off the schneid in the division.
They stopped that streak.
They stopped the streak this week.
They looked hot in that fourth quarter.
I like
I
like how the Jets look.
I do too.
It's more so about how they actually look and how they're actually playing. Coach Salah has them playing great ball, and to be 2-2 with Zach Wilson only playing 1 game so far, that says a lot about your team. So salute to Flacco for holding down the fort until Wilson became healthy.
Go
but
Hens.
they have players at the skill positions that are difference makers. They have a defense that's been solid for the last few years. They were top 10 defense last year. The people forget that. So
yeah,
they're not really. This is not a fluke what they're doing right now. You just had to put together on offense, string together a few more games. But I do have the Jets winning at home this weekend.
And again, the reporter looked Tyreek in the eyes. He said, "You got Teddy Bridgewater this week. How do you think you'll do?" He looked him right back in the eyes and he said, "I'll put up numbers with you at quarterback." Talking about the reporter. So again, no lack of confidence for the Cheetah. Give me the Dolphins on the road here, even with Teddy Two Gloves. I think he gets another win as a starter for the Miami Dolphins. Dennis, Jets or Dolphins? Dolphins. So Dolphins versus the Jets. Again, though, the Jets are playing good football. We'll see how that game goes on Sunday. Again, the Dolphins 3-point favorites on the road at the Meadowlands. Let's jump to the Falcons and the Bucks. A big one here for Tom Brady, 2-2, going through some personal stuff right now. Again, came out yesterday that him and his wife Gisele Bundchen have retained their divorce lawyers. Today, it seems as if though she filed for divorce, so a lot going on there. And the subject for that being, as was cited in the articles, is too much football. Tom Brady retired. She wanted him to stop playing the last couple years. He didn't do that. He retired this year, then unretired, obviously, to her not liking that situation. I don't think that'll have anything to do with him at quarterback. I think he's going to be just fine. I don't think that'll have any mental effect. What about you? You think he's going to be a little slouchy?
I think that's why he's been having such a slow start this season. I think his family situation has affected his play. I think
so to this point. I'm
just
thinking.
Just being human, I think it really has affected him this year. He won't say it.
Do you think it continues, though, going forward?
I do. Because that's a stressful situation, because now you're worrying about your assets.
Yeah, 2 families to worry about, right? Football family.
But for him, it's personal as well, because you're worrying about your assets and your money and how much is going to be divvied up in the settlement.
Too, right?
So it's not just about just losing the marriage, and you have to talk about custody situation and financial situation. So it's just as important, actually more important than him being on the field right now, which is why I believe he should have stayed retired.
Yeah.
So it will affect him the whole season. There's no way to get around that.
Yeah, I agree. May have a level of fat. I still think he'll be able to play, like Tom Brady, hopefully, at quarterback for the Bucks. Falcons, we mentioned, beat the Browns 23-20. Cordell Patterson now put on IR with that injury. So Kyle Pitts also dealing with a hamstring injury. You don't see much of him anyway. Marcus Mariota still at quarterback there. He's been okay this year. The Falcons, though, 2-2 again. Don't really understand how they are. Tyler Algier, the 5th-round pick, and then Caleb Huntley, the undrafted running back out of Ball State. They're both now going to get the bulk load of the work. They both looked really good coming in for Patterson last week in the ground game. The Bucks, tough loss to the Chiefs, 41-31. Some on the Falcons, or are you focused on the Bucks?
The Falcons. This stat here about them being 4th in the league in rushing. That's right. That's an astounding stat.
How about that? 168 yards per game. That was a good one. I skipped right over that.
That's why they're 2-2. You run the ball effectively in the NFL, you will win games.
And again, Arthur Smith, he's looking at his paper, saying, I got Marcus Mariota at quarterback. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Let him perform off of play action. That's a recipe for Mariota. Again, Arthur Smith was his offensive coordinator in Tennessee when they drafted Mariota way back when. So the Bucs, though, they lost to the Chiefs 41-31. They have won the past 4 meetings between them and the Falcons. They've scored more than 40 points the past 2 times in Tampa. They're getting healthy at wide receiver. We saw Godwin last week. Julio was back out there.
Milltown's finest.
There we go, Chris Godwin. Are they getting into more of a rhythm offensively now that they're getting healthy?
Godwin is the key to the offense. I know Mike Evans is still there, but when Godwin's on the field,
their Edelman, right?
When Godwin's on the field, they look 10 times better.
I agree with you, and I think he's the key, and I think he's going to be healthy going forward. Hopefully, you got to cross your fingers. He's such a big part, especially for Brady. Brady loves him. He's his safety valve, kind of, if you will, across the field. I mean, he just can do it all. So, going to be should be a pretty good one here, but not according to the line. Tampa, big 9.5-point favorites in Vegas here at home over the visiting Falcons. They're thinking a rebound game for Tampa. What are you thinking?
This is probably the only big line I agree with this week.
Bucks? I'm going with the Bucks.
In Tampa, fire the cannons. Fire the cannons.
I'm taking them too. I think Brady's going to take out some frustration this week.
And the Patterson on IR is huge because he's pretty much their
running backs now.
He's pretty much their entire offense and has been all season. And for him to be hurt now and plays on IR, that's the key for me in this game. No Patterson and a less than 100% Kyle Pitts. Taking the Bucks.
And again, I don't think I even have to ask Dennis this one. I think he's going to be rolling with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So let's keep it going. We're going to run through these couple breakdowns here before we get to our Thursday night football preview. Let's talk about the Titans and Commanders quickly. Titans going on the road at Washington to take on Carson Wentz. Titans started off the year 0-2. They've won 2 straight, looking better and better as the weeks have gone on. Derrick Henry coming off that 100-yard game on Sunday. Treylon Burks dealing with a turf toe, so he might not be out on the field this week. But Bobby Trees, Robert Woods stepping into that wide receiver 1 position for Tennessee. They are 13-5. They are 13-5 against NFC teams since Mike Vrabel got there. They have success. How do you see this one going? The Commanders coming off that loss to the Cowboys where Carson Wentz looked like Carson Wentz for the 2nd week in a row. When you put pressure on him, bad things happen for that offense. But the big key for Washington, Brian Robinson, designated to return 6 weeks to the day after suffering from 2 gunshot wounds and attempted robbery in D.C. He is, again, unbelievable. Just the fact that he's almost back already is incredible.
Amazing.
It is.
That's got to give it up for him. That's absolutely amazing.
And not only that, the coaches love him. They love him over there in Washington with the Commanders. And once he's ready and good to go from both standpoints, he's going to get a lot of work there. They really like him as a player.
A lot of work. He's going to take a lot of time from Gibson.
So Titans 2-2, Commanders 1-3. Titans 1-point favorite on the road. Who wins this game?
Well, folks, we remember the Titans. They're back. They win this game.
I'm with the Titans. Titans. Dennis? Titans make it a hat trick, 3 in a row. We're sweeping the board for the Titans. The Texans still looking for their first win, a division matchup for them. They're going to head east to Jacksonville, where they will take on Doug Peterson and the Jags. Trevor Lawrence coming off that 5-turnover performance in the loss to the Eagles last Sunday. The Texans losing to the Chargers 34-24. The Texans have been in every game. They've been in every
run the ball.
game. They've been in every game. They just can't find that victory. Dameon Pierce, rookie out of Florida,
playing on fire.
$131 and a score for him on the ground. He's starting to really step up. 10th in the NFL with 313 rush yards after that game. So they're going to have to run the ball if they want to beat Jacksonville. They've got a great defense. But how about another stat? Jacksonville, listen to this one here. They have the chance to end an 8-game slide against the Texans. They've lost 8 straight games to the Texans.
I don't know how either. I don't know how.
Have the Texans ever beat anybody 8 times in a row?
No.
They have not. Well, they have until now, the Jaguars. Who wins this one? Jaguars back at home, rebound after the Philly loss?
The Texans still be looking for a win after this week.
Give me the Jags.
Yeah, the Jags going to win.
And again, I've been known on the show to be a supporter of the Texans in terms of I believe they're a little bit better than they are. They've been in every game. Davis Mills, maybe not be the starter for the future, but I'm going with the Jags in this one. Dennis, Jags or Texans? Jags. Let's make it a sweep. 3 for the Jags. Now let's jump over to Carolina. The Panthers have been one of the worst offensive teams in football here in 2022. They are 1-3. They'll be welcoming the best defense in the National Football League. The San Francisco 49ers at 2-2, traveling to Carolina this Sunday. Again, the Niners coming off that Monday night win over the Rams where they absolutely didn't demolish them score-wise, but they seriously outplayed them. 9 points for that Rams offense. Nick Bosa leads the league with 6 sacks. And listen to this stat, another one. We've got some good ones on today's show. Giving up only 37 points to opposing offenses, that's tied for the second fewest through 4 games since 2010, and have allowed 3.81 yards per play, the lowest mark through 4 games since 2008. So through 4 games, the best defense we've seen in a decade. Now they carry that on the road to take on Baker Mayfield, who was last in the NFL in total QBR. He is just having a very bad season. How do you see this one going? McCaffrey's starting to get back on track, but it's not looking good for Carolina.
Matt Rule's going to be out of a job soon.
He was on the hot seat last year, right?
He's going to be out of he's going to be out of the job real soon. He might be the first firing by midseason with the way this Panthers team looks right now.
And the question is now, Sam Darnold's been hurt. Baker was the automatic starter, whatever. Darnold got hurt and nobody thought anything of it. Do you maybe give Darnold a shot?
It doesn't matter who you put back there. They're not going to win too many games.
No, the defense isn't bad. The defense has scored touchdowns the last 2 weeks.
It's the offense.
It is. The worst in the league, as we talked about.
It's the offense. And they have people at the wideouts they can throw to. It's just not getting done. No. It's just not getting done.
And I'll wear this one. I thought Baker was going to be a lot better for the Panthers this year. I did not see the lowest QBR in the NFL in his future this year with Carolina. I'm going with the Niners in a big win.
Yeah, that's not even – we can go to the next game. Yeah,
Dennis, Niners?
Niners.
Yeah, I think
he –
Let's jump now to the – I was going to say America's team, but not in our eyes. It's the Cowboys
surprising
at 3-1. 3-1. Cooper rushed 3-0 since Dak Prescott left this season. 4-0 in his career as a starter in Dallas. A lot of people like to talk quarterback controversy. I'm not one of those people in this situation. But if they keep winning, are you one of the people that maybe questions if you bring Dak back?
If they keep winning, you can't stop that momentum.
So if he wins 2 more games, Dak's ready to come back, you leave Cooper Rush in. You're just rolling with him. And is that the rest of the year thing?
He would have to lose a game before they put Dak in. For me, to put Dak in, Cooper Rush had to lose a game first before you put Dak in, because a lot of times teams build off momentum. And right now, he has a full grasp of the offense. They rally behind him. They believe in him. Everybody is more energetic. And when Cooper Rush plays, you see more of the playbook of Kellen Moore for the Cowboys. You see more of the playbook. Like, Dak has a set amount of plays, but Dak is Dak, so he can kind of do whatever he wants on the field. Cooper Rush goes through the entire playbook every game. So it's kind of like you get the ball spread around a little bit more with Cooper Rush, and you can see it.
It's showing. The Dallas, again, 3-0 this year under Cooper Rush. They head to the Rams coming off that tough loss. The offense has been struggling for them. Matt Stafford finding it hard to find other guys other than Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee in that offense. The run game has been absolutely abysmal so far here. The offensive line hasn't been great. Can the Rams win this one? They're heavy favorite.
Receivers out there. But again, the Rams' Achilles heel, just like the Bills' Achilles heel, not running the football.
No, not at all.
Not running the football. And you have 2 solid backs in Henderson and Akers, and you're not running the ball effectively at all. And that's why you're 2-2. And again, the defense is the same defense as last year. It's still there. Nobody left, same defense. Well, outside of Von Miller, but same exact defense. And your offense essentially is the same too. So it's just Stafford is more hurt than we need out to be. I don't think he's fully healthy yet.
And we'll see how that offense progresses. It's going to be a tough one because they get that Dallas Cowboys defense that can really bring the pressure. Micah Parsons, though, being held without a sack in the last 2 games, so something rare for him. He has at least 2 sacks in 5 of his 20 games as a player. So, again, 25% of the time he is getting a sack. Dallas 0-2 against the Rams on the road since they came back to L.A., but they're 30-10 when Zeke gets at least 20 carries in a game, 30-10, but that's happened just twice since the start of last season. Who are you taking to this one?
I hate to say this.
You gonna take the Cowboys?
I am.
Give me the. You know what? It's tough too. Cooper Rush undefeated, 3-0. The defense is good. They got to go on the road. Give me the Rams here. I'm gonna go with the Rams. Dennis?
Cowboys.
2 Cowboys there. Dan, I don't blame you guys one bit for that one. Cowboys are playing better right now than the Rams. I'm going to go with the talent at home. Hopefully they get that going this week. Let's keep it rolling. Here we go. Bengals at the Ravens.
Night football,
Sunday
baby.
night football.
At the bank.
That's going to be a great one here.
At
the Bengals
bank.
2 straight beating the Dolphins Thursday night. They swept the Ravens last season, as we alluded to earlier. The Ravens, tough 4th down decision in that loss to the Bills. But check out this. The Ravens have 1,437 net yards of offense this season. Lamar Jackson is responsible for 80% of it for Baltimore. He's thrown for 893 yards and run for 316. He may be very well the leader in the MVP race to this point. The Ravens are 18-2 in prime time at home under John Harbaugh.
Yes.
So that should be a good one. But the Ravens' top 3 options left tackle have been hurt. They're dealing with some injuries up front. They get the Bengals here. Sunday Night Football. This is a big one for you and your boys. What do you got?
Baltimore cannot lose in another game at home. They have to win this game.
After getting swept last season, right,
but
by
also,
the Bengals?
you play 2 home games, you blow double-digit leads in both of those games at home. We have to win this, but I'll throw another stat out there to you. The Ravens are wearing all black on Sunday. They are 14-2 when they wear the all black uniforms.
Give me the Ravens.
Give me the
I'm
Ravens.
going with the Ravens. Dennis? The Bengals going against the grain again.
I don't like you either.
Dennis going with the Bengals. Monday Night Football, a few more to wrap up here. Raiders and the Chiefs. The Chiefs 7-point favorites at home. The Raiders get their first win of the season over Denver last week. They had started 0-3, a rough start for Las Vegas. How about the Josh Jacobs show? He has been absolutely showing out for them.
I'm so happy.
144 yards, 2 touchdowns last week, 170 yards from scrimmage on 33 touches, the most for a Raiders player in 10 years, and he was getting absolutely no love coming into this season. He was getting a bulk of the workload in the Hall of Fame game, in the first preseason game, and people kind of took that as, oh no, why is he even playing in this game? Those starters aren't even suited up. He's playing through 3 quarters, and he's looking really good so far here in 2022.
What school did Josh Jacobs go to?
Alabama.
What do they do at Alabama very well? Running backs.
Well, they run the pro running backs even. You're right, pros in general. And
but running backs. He's built for this league. They don't use him right in Vegas. He's a solid running back in this league.
Yeah.
And I think that when he runs the ball effectively, you take the pressure off of Derek Carr, and then you bring that safety down, and then you can go over the top one-on-one coverage with Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow.
I love that.
And Darren Waller.
And again, Renfro's been out the last 2 weeks. He practiced today for the first time in 2 weeks. He'll be, again, hopefully good to go this weekend.
Since that hit in that Arizona game,
I'll tell you. Again, just to take a look, the Chiefs, they beat the Bucs, as we talked about. They have the top rushing defense in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know maybe because you get out early, teams are running the ball to come back and to come back against you. But it's interesting to see that they held the Bucs to 3 rushing yards on 6 carries in the win last week. I mean, that's going to help you be the top rushing defense in the league. The Vegas Raiders, just a quick stat on them, one of 2 teams to score on the opening drive in all 4 games this season, the other one being the Tennessee Titans.
Wow,
so
that's
the Raiders
a stat.
come out and they score.
It's a great stat.
And they haven't won. So we'll see how that goes.
It's a great stat.
15-3 versus the Raiders since 2013 are the Kansas City Chiefs. That is a remarkable winning percentage. Give me the Chiefs.
I want to pick the Chiefs.
And I would, and if this were no picks, I like the Raiders a lot more. I would root for the Raiders, but I'm picking the Chiefs.
I want to pick the Chiefs, but this is a division game, and the Raiders went in Kansas City last year and beat them, so I think they do it again.
Dennis, what do you got? Chiefs, and Raiders. Again, AFC West matchup could go either way. We saw the Raiders beat the Broncos last week in a tough division one. Now let's talk about the Eagles-Cardinals here before we dive into our Thursday night preview. Eagles on the road at Arizona this week. The Cardinals are going to debut their all-black uniforms for the first time.
Black helmet,
with the black helmet.
Yeah.
So the Eagles, first time this season at a 4:25 kickoff. They are 5.5-point favorites on the road. Again, the Cardinals not really living up to expectations this year. A playoff team last year. Offense has not looked great so far this season. Kyler Murray struggling a little bit, not running the ball at all, as we talked about earlier in the show. Very unlike that Arizona offense and Kyler Murray as a quarterback. How do you see this one going?
5-0.
Give me the Birds.
The
Eagle Birds.
There's a way to get around it. The Eagles are the best team in football. Yes, it came out of my mouth. But we talked about them before the season. I picked them to win the NFC East and the NFC overall, and they just proved my point right now.
They are looking good. They'll look to keep that up as they make now their first trip to the West Coast to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Maybe, again, not a lot of competition. The Vikings at home was a tough one. And again, the Cardinals aren't the best team, but at least a little bit of a contest they should have maybe here for the first time this season.
I will say this. The Eagles are pretty much, they have a bottom-feeding schedule.
Oh, man.
Easy schedule in the league this year. So you have to win these games.
From start to finish.
You have to win these games.
You have to. And again, that's why Nick Sirianni, now the leader for head coach of the year in Vegas. Hope you got those tickets in earlier in the season. Let's jump to Thursday night. Here we go. We are about an hour away from kickoff, less than now, 7:40 p.m. here on the East Coast. Colts 1-2-1 at the Broncos, who are 2-2. Denver 3.5-point favorites here at home. None of the 9 NFL teams that have changed quarterback this season have a winning record heading into October.
Wow.
How about that stat, Jason? None of the quarterbacks that switch teams.
That's a great stat. That's
interesting. You're right.
Very interesting. That's all I can say.
Interesting there. So Matt Ryan in that list with the Colts here. 8 turnovers in 4 games for Matty Ice. He's been sacked 15 times and fumbled 9 times since leaving the Falcons last year. But he's also 4th in passing yards, only 5 touchdown passes in his first 4 games. But he has been getting better the last 2 weeks. He said it was going to take some time with that new offense. You heard those horrid statistics about the turnovers through the first 4 games. The last 2 weeks, though, he's completing 73% of his passes with a solid 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. So he's getting better the last 2 weeks. Still, the Colts 1-2-1. They were the AFC South favorite coming into the season.
They were.
And now they got to go on the road and take on the Denver Broncos. Just what have you seen from the Colts so far?
What have you seen from the Colts so far? That's a better question.
I saw they looked maybe a little bit better at the beginning. It's going to take time. Yeah. I think with Wentz early on last year. I know, that's how I feel. I felt wrong even saying it.
I'll say this. Matt Ryan always puts up numbers, but they always feel like hollow stats. Like they don't always equate to wins. And you're seeing it in the game right now. This is what he does. Like literally outside of the Super Bowl season, this is what he's done.
It was MVP year too.
He's always.
Let me ask this again: a deeper conversation here. Was that MVP season an outlier for Matt Ryan? Is he?
Indeed, indeed it is.
No hesitation.
Indeed. I mean, but when you're down, to me, the best running back of football. And Jonathan Taylor.
Well, that's a great point. You said it right there. Jonathan Taylor out tonight due to that high ankle
And Shaq
sprain.
might be out tonight. Leonard might be out too.
I mean, Julian Blackmon, I believe, is out as well as a starting safety playmaker over the top. So, again, it's going to be tough for them. They have activated Philip Lindsay, who'll be going against his former team, the Denver Broncos.
Lindsay, that's a name you haven't heard in a while.
So he'll be backing up Hines in that running back role here today. So you're going to see a little bit of Lindsay. We'll get to him in our pick segment in a little while. The Colts, though, are the NFL's lowest scoring team in the league.
You would never have thought that before.
And they're also one of the league's slowest starting teams per game. They've been outscored 65-23 in the first half of this season. If you're looking to make a bet here tonight before the game, it might be on the Broncos' first half after hearing some of those stats from the Colts offense. The Broncos are undefeated at home, but they also will be without their starting running back, Javonte Williams, who again, unfortunately, tore his ACL and MCL to our dismay last Sunday. He will be out for the year. It's now the Melvin Gordon show. I know we've been lobbying for Javonte Williams to get more touches. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait another year to see him blossom at tailback. Melvin Gordon's going to step into that role, but it's been tough for him. He's fumbled 5 times in 5 games. He's good for a fumble a game. That's something you just don't see. They're kind of maybe getting a little nervous about handing him the ball. We're going to see how he does tonight. Russell Wilson got a little bit back on track, starting to feel a little more comfortable. 16th in passing yards, and that Colts defense is allowing 21 points per game. They've allowed 3 quarterbacks to throw for multiple touchdown passes so far this season. Is this a big game for Russell Wilson tonight?
It looks like a perfect game for him to throw for 300.
Right.
300 over 300 yards.
We'll get to that in a second here,
all
too.
That good stuff. But, yeah, no, but talk about the game itself. This is the perfect storm for the Broncos to have the injuries to the key players on Indianapolis and to be at home as well, and you're undefeated at home.
Mile high, too.
It's a perfect storm for them to win this game. Like that, the stars are aligned for them tonight.
And again, we'll get to the picks in a second. Injuries, though, for the Denver Broncos. No Tim Patrick. They lost him before the year. Williams is out for the year, as I mentioned. Also, Randy Gregory was out, I believe, on the IR as well after he got hurt on Sunday in that in that loss, I should say, to the Raiders. I mean, the big part of what we've seen in Denver, some of the problems they've been having has been in the red zone. It seems like every time they get in the red zone, they turn the ball over. A league-low 30% conversion rate in the red zone. So we'll see if they get that fixed Tonight, Mike Boone going to get some work. They signed Latavius Murray after his big game in London for the Saints. He will not be activated yet. It's only been about 3 days. He just got back from London, so he'll look for him next week. But another tough divisional game here tonight, or not division, excuse me, tough game at Mile High Stadium between the Colts and the Broncos. We'll jump in now to some of our picks and over-unders if you're ready to go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Lightning round here on DETV. Picks here, more passing yards, Russell Wilson or Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. I'm going to go with, give me Russell Wilson. I'll take Russell Wilson. More rushing yards, Mike Boone and Melvin Gordon or Nyheim Hines and Phillip Lindsay?
Boone and Gordon.
Me too. I'm going Boone and Gordon as well. More reception yards, Michael Pittman or Cortland Sutton?
Sutton, please. Please, Sutton. Thank you.
I'm going to go with Michael Pittman because they don't throw the ball to anybody else. More interceptions, Russell Wilson or Matt Ryan? Who throws more picks tonight?
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan. Dennis, I know you're smiling back there. Matt Ryan's throwing a pick or a fumble. Will Melvin Gordon fumble the football 5 times through 4 games? Here it is, week number 5. He's good for over 1 a game. Does he fumble tonight in prime time?
No.
No. There you go. I'm sure the Broncos are hoping that you're right on that one. Will we see a defensive or special teams touchdown tonight?
No.
No? I'm going to go with yes. Matt Ryan's going to turn the ball over, and Denver is going to take it for 6. Now let's go to some of our over-unders. Passing yards, Russell Wilson, 231.5 yards, over-under.
Over.
Matt Ryan, 230.5, over-under.
Over.
I'm going to take over for both of those as well. Rushing, Melvin Gordon, 60.5 yards.
Over.
I'm going to go under. Nyheim Hines, 36.5 yards is the starter for the Colts tonight.
Over.
I'm going to go over, too. Here we go. Russell Wilson, 12.5 yards rushing.
Oh, that's an over. I'll take that all day long.
He hasn't been doing it either, but I'm going to go over 2. Tonight he's going to scramble, pick up 13 on the rush. Mike Boone, 30.5 yards in his first game in a significant role.
Over.
Over. I'm with you. I'm a Mike Boone fan. I think he's a guy that flies under the radar. Phillip Lindsay, first game activated in some time, and he's already at 38.5 yards as his over-under. Is he going to go over that?
Under.
Under. Give me under. You know what? No. Give me the over on Phillip Lindsay. Revenge game against his old team. I say he goes over 30.5 yards. Let's get to the receivers. Sutton, 63.5 yards.
Over.
I'm going to go over. Jerry Jeudy, 52.5.
Over.
Under. Michael Pittman, 59.5.
Over.
I'm going to take the over. Alec Pierce, 34.5 yards, the rookie wide receiver for Indy.
Over.
I'll go over. Nyheim Hines, 26.5 yards.
Under.
I'm going to go over. He's going to catch a screen there. Hopefully they're going to try to get him the ball, I think, in space without Jonathan Taylor. Brandon McManus, 6.5 points as the kicker tonight.
Over.
I'm going to go over. Mile high. I could see some big field goals for McManus tonight. And then here we go. First touchdown. Who would you take for the first touchdown in tonight's game?
Broncos.
Player.
Player.
Any player you want. Who do you think scores first?
Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with this. Give me Mo Ali Cox, the tight end.
Wow.
I'm going off the board. I'm going completely off the board. Scored 2 touchdowns last week. I know he does that once every year. Let's make it twice. Let's get him back in the end zone here tonight. I'm going to go first touchdown to Mo Ali Cox.
The basketball player?
Yeah. He's the one who beat Carson Wentz in the knockout game they had last year in Indianapolis Colts facility. Now, anytime touchdown. Doesn't have to be the first. Who do you think definitely gets in the end zone tonight?
Oh, Broncos. Oh, anytime?
Anytime, any player. They have to score once at all tonight. Who are you taking? If you had to place,
Sutton.
Sutton gets in?
He has to.
I'm going to go with, you know what?
Pittman?
I like Sutton. I'm with you. I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton as well. Russell Wilson really likes him lately. They're developing kind of a rapport there.
About time.
Give me Cortland Sutton. And now it's time for our game picks. The Broncos at home against the Indianapolis Colts. Jason, who are you taking in this Thursday night football matchup? On Amazon.
On Amazon. Mile high salute.
Going Denver. Give me the Denver Broncos. I love that pass defense. Patrick Surtain is playing out of his mind here at corner this year. They're going to be playing at Mile High. Again, if you haven't been there or played something there, it has an effect on you a little bit there. Tougher for road teams. I like Russell Wilson back at home over the Colts, who have been known to turn the ball over. They got to take care of the football. Denver, you have to take care of the football, and you got to convert in the red zone, but give me the Broncos. Dennis? Yeah, we should have known that Dennis was not taking Matt Ryan in the Indianapolis Colts. So we're going to go. All 3 of us are going with the Broncos. Again, thanks for everyone who tuned in tonight. For Jason McCall, Nick Alessandrini, and Dennis Pritchett. Again, the Phillies tomorrow, 2:07 p.m. Playoff baseball, Red October, back in the area. We are all excited for it. Again, just around the corner tonight on Amazon. Denver and Indianapolis. Jason, any parting words here tonight on Thursday?
Nah, just enjoy this football game. I'm getting better with watching games on Amazon Prime.
Can't switch, though. Can't switch channels.
But Baltimore, Black Sunday. Let's go.
That's going to be a good one. Sunday night, Ravens and the Bengals. Also, the Delaware Blue Hens looking to remain undefeated, the 6th-ranked team in the country. They're going to play at Williamsburg this Saturday against William & Mary, who's ranked 16th. It should be a great one there. You can catch that one on 94.7 WDSD. So, again, go Hens. And we've got some good on the Eagles on Sunday against the Cardinals. You mentioned the Ravens on Sunday night. It's going to be a great week of football, so make sure you check it out. So we'll see you next time. For Nick Alessandrini, Jason McCall, and, of course, Dennis Pritchett. We will see you on Monday for our Monday night preview and our recap of Week 5.